Hello, everybody. I'm Carissa Kranz. Welcome back to another week of The Laws That Matter. We have two amazing guests today. We have world-class celebrity chef Babette, restaurant owner, Stuff I Eat, author, motivational speaker, and Monk Eternal Coleman, also an author, a speaker, a bodybuilder, two inspirational beings. So let's get right into today's episode. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
So Chef Babette was the amazing celebrity chef on my episode of the Amazon Prime cooking show, New Day, New Chef, Season 1, Episode 3. I always find you so entertaining, and that pizza was so good. So
thank you.
So how are you? It's good to see you.
I know, I'm wonderful. I'm really doing good today. It's so good to see you and Monk together.
Yes, Monk. So tell us, let's start with you. Tell us about yourself and your vegan journey. You're quite amazing. You're like so in shape. No one can ever believe your age. You have your book, Cash In on Cashews.
You know what? This journey has been so amazing, really and truly. And seems like every second of the day I'm learning something new. Just got a brand new great grandbaby coming into the world. She's 5 days old. And as crazy as everything can seem on the outside, I feel amazing within. And the journey has been kind of crazy, but I really give thanks to the universe for being led in this direction. And actually it all happened in 1990 when I met my husband, Rondell Davis. I was having a multitude of issues because I was eating everything, and I was totally a sugar junkie. I was just totally addicted to refined sugar. And I felt like, you know, if they sell it in the supermarket, it's already been passed. All the government has already hooked it up. It's okay. You know, what are you guys tripping for? And he gave me a couple of books, and I share these books all the time because they totally helped change my mind. And it was Fit for Life Volumes 1 and 2 by Harvey and Marilyn Diamond, and the Mucusless Diet Healing System by Professor Arnold Ehret. Now, I'd heard of the China study and all this kind of stuff, but these books, easy read, and it just completely and totally changed my mind. So because I grew up earaches, never was able to digest my food. I had a very, very, very difficult time coming up, even as a young adult, digesting food. It was just horrible. Always constipated, a lot of gas, a lot of bloating, miserable, skin bad, really horrible skin. And once I read Fit for Life and it started talking to me about food combining, it started addressing why I have so much acid reflux, why, you know, I read that book, started making the changes, and my entire world changed, seriously. It really did. So.
And when did you open your restaurant?
We opened the restaurant in 2008, right at the height of the recession. And people were like, come on now. You in Inglewood, you got about to open a vegan restaurant. You really think that's going to work? And it did. People were ready. Yeah.
The world is becoming more and more ready. So
I think so.
Like, you know, so I'm the founder of BVeg International, the vegan certification firm. And you brought up a really important point. Like, you think if it's at the grocery store, oh, it's been vetted, it's been looked at. You think that the labels are clear and that, you know, it's okay to eat. And even as a vegan, what vegans don't realize often, and most of the time it's not the ingredients, and there's no root analysis, gap analysis, the source ingredients, the supply chain, the cross-contamination that happens at manufacturing facilities. None of that stuff is really vetted to get to a grocery store shelf or a retail chain. So there's a lot of misleading information to begin with in labeling law in general. And just because something's on the shelf does not mean it is what you think it is. And a lot of times marketing will make you think it's one thing, and that's very misleading on what it actually is or could be. So there's like two big things there is what you said. Like one is, you know, people that are not vegans who are at the grocery store trying to be healthy and mindful in life, and they're being misled to buying things that they think are healthy and mindful, and they're just not. Like, I know the law says that for sugar, you can round down to 0 and claim a product is sugar-free if it's less than 0.5 grams per serving.
What?
Per serving.
Are you kidding me?
So that means that a product can be sugar-free, gluten-free, alcohol-free. Yeah, so same with like vegan claims, right? Vegan claims may not be credible because in the eyes of the law is not protecting those things. So anyway, wow. You brought up a point that I think is important that people, especially people in the Jane Unchained network, understand, because it is important that we're not lied to as consumers and that we have complete transparency in what we're consuming and putting into our body. And, you know, as a vegan who's against animal exploitation of any kind, the ingredients are so important because we don't want anyone to round down to 0. We want to know what's there.
Exactly.
And how it's there. Anyway, so sidetrack there, but Monk, nice to meet you. I've heard so many wonderful things. I know you're quite a celebrity yourself, bodybuilder, involved with Clean Machine, motivational speaker, author, I hear. You have a book coming out. Tell us about yourself, your vegan journey.
Well, it was
actually a great name. Is that your real name?
It is my real name, but it's not my birth name. And if you want to ask me about that, I'll get to that too. But I became vegan accidentally on purpose. So what happened with me is I didn't know what a vegan was when I stopped eating meat. So I got to a point in my life where I was raised in church, and then I went the other direction in my late teens. I went to the streets selling drugs and drinking and becoming an alcoholic. And it got to a point where my body was breaking down and I was literally going to die. So I had to stop drinking. So I forced a stop, and it was really hard because now I had to deal with all this stuff without my crutch. So one day meditation crossed my mind, and I'm like, I need to do something because I cannot deal with these internal things that are going on. They're too stressful. That's why I started drinking in the first place. I never knew why I was drinking the way I was drinking, but it was just to calm, suppress, repress these emotions that I didn't want to face. Mm-hmm. So at this point, it's either you check in or check out. So I checked in. I started meditating. So 3 years into it, I was asked, and I was eating a vegetarian omelet, and I was asked, are you a vegetarian? And something just said, say yes. So I said yes, I was a vegetarian. And I knew it. So if you ever have a knowing, like just something you know that you're never going to do again, that's the feeling I had. I said, yes, I'm a vegetarian. And I left and I was confused that I even said yes. So I started doing some research because I was in the gym at that time already. I was like vegetarian, bodybuilding, vegetarian. See, you know, because all the myths about you can't build muscle, you're going to look like pasty and skinny and, you know, you're going to look unhealthy. I had to research that. But what I also did is I researched, why did I say that?
Yeah.
Basically, it said I had reconnected to all life and I didn't want to do any harm. Mm. Oh. Then I thought about it. I was making a connection to all life, not just human life. Mm. So we are put in all these little boxes all the time, which causes separation and hate. That's what's going on in the world right now. Mm. But when you know it's all one process, it's all one thing, then you show compassion to animals, you show compassion to people that may hate you, you show compassion to everyone because you realize the oneness of it all. So I was making this connection. So going further, I thought eggs were just had by chickens, so that was okay. And I thought that cows just had milk, so that was fine. So I didn't really trip off the eggs and the milk. I continued to do that until I've seen a video, and it just blew my mind at this process.
Which video?
There's a couple of them. So I seen the egg process video, and when they were throwing the little chicks into the grinder, I'm like, what? Like the male chicks are useless in this industry. I know. I'm like, this is crazy. I never knew. So immediately I stopped that. Then I seen a video on milk, and you have to be pregnant to give milk. There's a baby involved. What happens to the baby? Well, it's either killed or hooked up when it's old enough to get hooked up. And then the cows die within 4 or 5 years, then they're sold off to fast food or whatever. So I'm like, no matter what happens to my body, I cannot be a part of this suffering.
Yeah.
And that's when I became vegan.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a story.
Wow. You
What a
just
journey.
woke up. You had the source energy coming to you and pushing through you with a revelation that you then stopped and paused and said, why did I accidentally say something? But it was actually, you were in a receiving mode, open to receive universal information, and you stepped right into it, and you stopped and you said, wait a minute, that wasn't me. That was something beyond me. What's with that?
Yeah, even the clothing and stuff, I came to this, I'm like, I felt like Hannibal Lecter, like I was just wearing other people's skin when the leather and stuff. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
yeah, I agree. I actually had this conversation last night with a friend of mine who's a vegan, and she's actually a vegan because she studies with a teacher in India, and she literally goes to the mountains of India for a month every year to basically be in the Dara to get satsang and all this compassion and stuff. And I was talking to her, and I was like, I'm a vegan from birth, but we were having a whole conversation about leather. And I said, right now, the only live animal I'll wear is my little pumpkin. I take her with me everywhere. So she's the only animal I'll wear. She likes to sit with me during these shows. But, so I was a vegan from birth when it came to the food on my plate, but there was a very large part of my life up until more recently that I made that connection that, you know what, I'm leather shoes, leather bags, like, and some part of my mind, I thought, I don't know, it's just like a byproduct of like, there's so much excess leather out there because we're killing all these animals, and it's like the Indians, they're just making use of all the body parts. Like, I totally tuned out reality of how these animals are skinned alive and that leather is an actual industry. And now we are murdering all these animals and exporting leather because we've made it a fashion statement. But it's amazing how we as humans are so capable of compartmentalizing and justifying what we are so culturally used to. But once you start to make the connection in one thing, you really start to make it in everything else. And it is a discovery process where everything's constantly expanding within our consciousness. So,
well, I told my daughter the other day that we're all conditioned beings until we realize that that's what we are. So you're going to live in this story. You're going to live this program out until something happens in your life that's going to make you look another direction or question your own reality.
There you go. That's for sure. I totally agree with that. Totally.
Yeah.
It's like you wake up. You wake up. Yeah. Wow.
So you guys have a backstory. You guys are close friends. So how'd you all meet? What's your story?
I don't know her.
I don't know him. You know how we met? This was so wonderful. We were at the pig vigil here in LA.
Oh.
And I had not met Monk as of yet. And he came up to me being the monk that he is. And he acted like he had known me for 75 years to the point that I felt embarrassed that I didn't know him. And so
that's because you're a celebrity.
I mean, listen. So anyway, we made the connection.
World class, Jeff.
We've been friends ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my buddy. And his daughter and his wife are amazing people as well. He's got a great team around him. Yeah.
When I seen her, me and Kat were together, and I was like, oh, that's Chef Babette. I was like, okay, we're gonna have to holler at her real quick. Because I was showing off her pictures way before we met.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? I was just like, look at this. Look at her age. Look what she looks like in people's jobs.
Let's get into the age. No one can believe your age. I mean, I wish I had pictures to put up on the screen of your muscles. Well, both of your muscles, but
about to be 70 years old. Yay.
Yeah, like let me put you on full screen and show your vegan muscle. Look at that.
Well, you can't really.
You got to lift them a little higher. You can see them. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
You guys are cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Monk's got the muscles.
No. I mean, you should show your six pack too. It's quite incredible. When I watched I was gonna say I watched our episode.
I was just about to say that at my age, at 69, almost 70, the only thing that I can actually do is give 100% credit to the lifestyle and my attitude. Because I wasn't moving on the path to be like this earlier in my life. And in 1990, when I made the transition, everything it almost felt like the aging process just got so slow, because obviously I don't look like I looked when I was 40, but the process is so subtle. Once you stop eating all the crap and moving in the direction that I was moving in. I mean, I did the drugs. I was a crackhead, so I'm crawling around on the floor looking for cocaine rocks. And once I got away from all of that and started caring for the whole me, all of it, the understanding the oneness, as Monk was talking about, how I'm so connected with everything. There's no way that I can disconnect myself from the whole. And then I started loving me more. And I think it just shows how much I embrace and love myself and love life. I think that's what you see. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Monk, I know you're a motivational speaker and you talk the talk a lot like Chef Babette just did right now. Queen Babette is what Tammy just commented in the comments right now. So when you do your speaking and your motivational talks of love over fear and inspiring the world to, own their inner truth, are you bringing in the vegan message, or are you speaking to a vaster audience and more subtly introducing the message?
So what I do, my message is always the same. Depending on who I'm speaking to, it's going to be more of one thing than the other, right? So if I'm at a veg fest, of course, I'm going to spend a little bit more time talking about my vegan journey, right? If I'm at an inner city school, I'm going to be talking more about transformation, how you can change your life, and then mention how I changed my life, and even my eating habits and the things I do like that changed as well, and slip veganism in there too. So no matter what I talk about, it's all going to be the same things, but it's just going to be a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. But veganism is a huge part of my life, but it's just a part. It's just a part about, it's just living compassionately. That involves that. That's all it is. So when you live from a loving and compassionate place, your lifestyle is going to reflect that. So I can't be out here saying I'm this and that when I'm out here fighting and killing beings and talking about peace and love. I can't do that. I can't.
That's true.
I couldn't do that. That's not integrity to me. I gotta, whatever I live that, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, but no, it's big. Integrity is when your actions are in alignment with your thoughts and heart. And I think that's where we have a big divide in our world right now, and a disconnect and cognitive dissonance is this lack of integrity, this heart and mind being in one place and then our actions in another. Yes. And I think so many people who are not eating compassionately, but might think they're living compassionately are experiencing a byproduct of that divide. And it's affecting them emotionally and psychically in ways that they're not even aware of. Yeah. But I think I looked at your website and I didn't see, it seems like you're speaking more about the message of the principles, like that veganism is love over fear and all that stuff, without really bringing the vegan message down anyone's throat, which I actually think is probably the most effective way to do things, because a lot of people don't want that message down their throat. They want the message of transformation and healing and love over fear and how can I get there and what's the method and what's the tool, and this is just one of the ways, right? Being vegan. Yeah, this is just one of the
that was done intentional, right? So I don't want anybody that has this negative connotation towards veganism, I don't want them to be turned away when they see that. I want to invite them in, and then we can have this conversation, right? If they never make it into the front door, we can't have this conversation. This is a reason why on my main Instagram page, I even changed my name on there to take vegan out. People are like, you're not vegan anymore. No, I am. But I want those people that look at veganism a certain way to come see what I got going on and to see where I'm delivering this message, because there's too many judgmental vegans out there and it turns people off. I say, if we deliver this message, we can deliver it with facts, but if you deliver it from a non-judgmental way, they're going to be able to receive it instead of push back. And I think that's where the aggressive part really hurts the movement, when you're really trying to cram your beliefs down someone else's throat. Look, if they can just sit back and watch how you move, they're going to want to say, what is he all about? What is he doing? How can I get some more information on this? I tell people all the time when I talk to them about veganism, first of all, I got to get my energy right, because it's easy when someone says something disrespectful to jump into that fight, right? When they say, oh, bacon, or the comments that you get as vegans, it's easy to get pulled in and sucked into that mud. But if I can stand back and deliver this message with love and not be reactive to somebody that's insensitive and doesn't understand, and I walk, they're going to question their own self. I don't have to question them.
Yeah. No, and that's key, is approaching things in a way and people in a way where you're going to lead them to want to join you, not be reactive and defensive to your message, when your message is actually coming from a loving place. So Paige just chimed in here and she said, Monk, please, will you share us about your book?
Oh, okay. So what happened was, I was going to go do a speaking engagement, not vegan, nothing, just a regular, go do what I do. And I said, this time I'm going to write these 10 principles down, and I'm going to speak on these 10 things that I think are very important. And I wrote them down. And then when it was time for me to speak, I didn't use them. I just shelved them. And a year later, I'm watching a video, and the video says, what are you giving away? What are you giving to your audience? What are they taking away from your speaking engagements? And I basically said, my energy and my words. But then, after we part ways, a lot of times those words get lost, and you basically in one ear, out the other. And it was great at the time, the energy, but you're going and living your own life now, right? So you're going back to regular, business as usual. So I thought about it, and I was like, those 10 things that I wrote down a year ago, I'm going to pull those back up, and I'm going to elaborate on those.
What's the name of the book?
It's called Love Over Fear, A Guide to Peace and Purpose. So it's a short read, and it's a guide, right? So for instance, I talk about love in all forms of it. All love is unconditional love, but it can be directed as self-love, love for others, right? You can place that focus on whatever, but it's all unconditional if it's real love. There's only one type of love. So I break all that down. It goes love, then gratitude, being present. I talk about meditation. I talk about failure. I talk about fear. I talk about
what are the 10 things that you have.
Huh?
Do you have the 10 things off the top of your head? 1, 2, 3.
I'm gonna try to remember all 10 things. Okay, so I got love is the number one. It's number one. Gratitude, number 2. Being present. Meditation. Being of service, because that's what we're all here to do. The truth about fear. The truth about failure. Proactivity. And how many we got so far?
You have 2 more.
Yeah, you have 2 more. You're at 9. You're at 8.
Hold on. I can get them the other 2 right now. Here we go. Say.
I love the backgrounds you guys have set. Buddhas and Oms.
Oh, consistency.
9.
And a constructive mindset.
Okay.
10. There you go.
So I break all those things down and give you the steps to live from that place. So I speak on gratitude, but then I'll tell you how to live a life full of gratitude. What things you can do, morning rituals you can do, things like that. And it's only about maybe a 40-minute read, but these are the things that I used in my own life that got me to where I am now. With love, everything falls under 2 umbrellas: love or fear. Everything. So if you're on a high vibration, whatever that is, kindness, joy, all that falls under the love vibration. And any anger, resentment, hate, that all falls under fear. There's nothing else. You got the highest frequency and you got the lowest frequency, and then you got in the in between. But anytime you're vibing high, it's because you're connected to the love that you are. And that's why you're having these feelings.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. What is that behind you?
Oh, that's a tapestry.
It's really cool.
It's so beautiful.
Where'd I get that from? Santa Barbara? Yeah, I got that from Santa Barbara.
It's a nice backdrop.
Yeah. So it's a little backdrop that I use. I
like
got my
it.
little setup going on right here. But it's the Om sign.
There you go.
Yeah, I know it's Om, and
there's 1,000 of them. If you see, there's all the little Oms all over the place.
Yeah, I love it. I want it. And I see the Buddhas and what is that, a pyramid in the background you have?
Well,
where?
Actually, it's it's a piece. Yeah.
What is? It's a pizza?
No.
A piece.
This, you're talking about this one?
Yeah.
This one
What's
back
that?
here, it was
an award?
That's it. An award.
For what?
Well, I was a guest speaker at an event, and they were nice to me and gave me that award. Got a couple of them.
So, all right. So I got sidetracked. So when is the book out?
In January. It was supposed to be on November. It was supposed to be on November, but the election's in November, and we anticipate some kind of chaos. At least in people's minds, at least internally.
Yeah, I was about to say, no, we don't. No.
Right, but you know how people are going to be feeling a certain way no matter what when this election happens. So we pushed it back to January, so things maybe be, people regather themselves or whatever they got to do, so it won't get lost in the noise. I want to put it out there when people are
and
ready.
How can we get it? How can we get it?
So my publisher, they're doing the cover right now, but the publisher is going to give me all that stuff so I can put it out. But you can definitely go on my website, monkeyeternal.com, and it'll be there for purchase.
Okay, cool.
How did you pick your publisher?
So it used to be really hard for me to say the word God, but it means something different to me now. So it's not the puppet master in the sky. But this is how God works, or the highest, the universe, the source. This is how this works. So I meditate every day. That's what I do. Because it changed my life in every single way. It brought me to self-realization. It brought me to know who I really am instead of who I thought I was. So, but I usually don't meditate with a guided meditation. But I use an app, Insight Timer app, to clock my, for a timer. One day I go, I already did my morning meditation. I said, I want to listen to a guided one today. So I went on there and looked, and I seen a black face, and there's not a lot of us there as far as that world goes. So I said, let me see what this guy is talking about. And it was a meditation about love. This guy's name is Skip Jennings. So I listened to the meditation, and I was like, I really like that. Let me see if he's on Instagram. So I looked him up, and I found him on Instagram. And you know what I found was he was Agape Spiritual Center. He was part of the Agape Spiritual. Now that's my home in LA.
Oh, mine too.
That's when I first went there. I thought it looked like a church setting, but when I felt that energy in there and the love in there, I was like, this is home for me. This is my tribe. So I really had to contact him. So we went back and forth, and I told him about Agape, and I loved the place, and we exchanged numbers, and we went and we called. So within the first 3 minutes, he had mentioned that he was an author. And I said I had just written a book, and he said, send the book over. And he read it, and he goes, this is fire. He goes, I'm going to introduce you to my publisher. And we talked, and the rest is history.
Excellent. Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And you're working on some projects now, right? Chef Babette?
Yeah, I'm working on a few. But I'd like to say that, I started Stuff I Eat. Initially, it started as a catering company over at City of Angels Spiritual Center with Reverend Dr. O.C. Smith and his beautiful wife, Robbie Smith. And then I moved over to Dr. Beckwith's spot, and was there for 6 years on the parking lot with a souped up hot dog cart. And that's where we started Stuff I Eat, actually, on the parking lot over there at Agape.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah. It was home for us for quite a number of years. But right now we have a few things going on. You know, we do the show with Jane's Network, Sunday Bites and Tidbits with Tara Bennett Smith. That's going really great, and we have a few other irons in the fire. And we're going to be spreading that news around really, really quickly. Hopefully we get some good news this week about another project. We're still working on the show, a TV show, and hopefully, that works out the way that I want it to. In terms of stuff I eat, being a restaurant and going through the whole COVID thing, I have to give it to my husband. He never closed the doors. He adjusted hours and days of the week, but he kept all of our employees. For those who wanted to stay, they've never been off work. And we're just keeping it going. Obviously, we're not making as much substance as we were, but we're able to keep the doors open. We're able to keep everybody at work. And that right there is a blessing. It's a gift. But, as soon as, just keep your fingers crossed for me, just see me on the screen, because this week will be the week that we find out whether or not, or maybe next week, whether or not somebody is going to be interested in what we've got going on. So that's pretty much it right now.
Is it with veganism? I'm sure, right? Yeah.
That's
vegan cooking.
First of all, TV don't want you to say the word vegan. I don't know what the problem is with everybody in that word. They're okay with plant-based, but something about vegan just kind of shakes them up. It gets them all shook. And back to what you were saying, Monk, you said something about the way we come at people as influencers or just with information. It's incredible to me how sensitive humans can tend to be. Life is so cold-blooded. We are literally here in this form 1 second and gone the next. That life ain't really concerned about whether you got the oomph to take what I'm about to give you. It doesn't really care. 1 second you're here, 1 second you're gone. The next second, I should say. So it's like sometimes with the things that we do as humans, it's like, I know nobody wants to be beat across the head, but we do some really despicable things on this planet. I mean, to the point that we make weapons to annihilate everything. And so it's like, I'm sorry that you don't want to hear about the treatment of animals and how horrible it is. But sometimes you just need to sit down, shut up, and listen. Because we always trying to coddle folks and pet them. But we are being so despicable on this planet. So many of us hating each other because of the complexion of your skin. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen or heard in my life. That can't get any dumber. It just cannot get any dumber. We are one species, and we are all in this together. So sometimes I might show you a burn, like I burned myself. It filled with fluid. I'll ask the question: would you prick that burn and suck that fluid? But you suck the fluid of a dead animal that you stick in an oven. And so you're not thinking about all that stuff. It sounds grotesque. You wouldn't suck your own fluid, but you suck the fluid of something else and so to me, sometimes we got it. Sometimes my mother spanked me, Monk. Sometimes I got a spanking, Monk. Sometimes I did get a spanking.
So listen to this. I'm not saying I don't give them facts. I give them facts. It's just the way I deliver those facts. So
Monk, I have no issues with you and your delivery and the way you handle it. You've always been up here to me consciously. I just understood that you had grown to a higher level spiritually, and I've always appreciated you. But I'm talking about those people out there that you can't say anything. I won't wear a mask because I have rights. I'm talking about him. I'm talking about her. You put a mask on. You don't have the right to go out and make anybody else sick. So those are the people that I'm talking about. Sometimes we just need to be quiet and listen to what it is we do that make a mess of everything. That's all I'm saying. And sometimes it's just not going to come with violins. And I'm not just going to rock you in my arms to tell you that, because life won't. But Monk, it has nothing to do with your delivery. I think it's on point. And it's the only way that you can deliver it, because it's who you are.
I guess. Well, I think that's important too. Like, everyone's like different strokes for different folks, right? Exactly. Like, everybody has a different way of delivery that's effective, and that's true to them. Like Jane Velez Mitchell and her way of delivery on the network is very different than mine. I was in a car with her. We were going to the New Day New Chef filming, and she's an activist, right? Yes. And she's out there, and that's her delivery, and that's what works. That works for her. And she's like, you got to be an activist more. I'm like, I'm a subtlist. And she was like, I love that. Did you make up that word? And she's like, but you are kind of a subtlist. Like, you're doing your thing within the movement, but you're doing it in a different way. My way works for me. It's where I'm comfortable, and it does speak to people. It just like the PETA way works for some people, and it turns other people off completely. So it really is, what works for you? What are you most comfortable with? How are you most effective in delivering your message? Because that will speak to people, because people resonate with inner truth. So like when Babette said it, and she's so blunt, it's like, geez, that was good. Like, that was good. That was like a monologue that was just really good. And and that will speak to certain people. And then other people can't deliver it the same way.
Right.
It's like a comedian. Like a comedian can deliver and it's funny, and then someone else can try to deliver it, and then it's just like,
and it's
not
flat. Yeah, it just doesn't work. Yeah, I totally 100% agree with that. And I think I'm a little bit in between you and Monk.
Really? I think I'm more like Monk.
You think you're more like Monk?
Yeah.
So, and I think I would probably just be in the middle. Like, I don't go too hard. But I will tell you, I will tell, if something is just not making sense to me logically, I'm gonna kind of say, now look, think about it. It
has to be natural though. Like, that's who you are, right? Like when you're on a show, part of the Chef Babette phenomenon is the entertainment value that you bring when you deliver and say things. And same with Jane, right? Jane is brilliant at her delivery of just going right there, and you don't really want to be on the other side of it, because she's kind of right. and then there's others who just aren't going to even tune in if you go right there, and
that's true.
You got to go this way and that way, and then you kind of got to get them there and corral them there, and then they wake up, they have the aha moment. And I think that that's the vibrational energy of the universe. People are attracted to the things that they're willing to listen to and open up with. I remember when Oprah did a show, she's got her radio show and her TV show and her magazine, and she's got all these different mediums of communication within which to deliver messages that she believes are important for us as a planet to receive. But she's very calculating and methodical on which medium she's going to use to deliver the message. So I remember when she did a show with Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, on channeling and source energy, and she would not do it on TV. She only did it on radio, which is sort of sad. I thought the message was beautiful, but she said that the world's not ready to really receive it, and she had a fear. So she wanted to deliver it on radio because she wanted to get it out. She felt like there was an obligation to get the interview out. It was a good interview. But she didn't want to be perceived as like too woo-woo and lose her credibility to make an effect bigger change on a massive level with the same message, but being less in your face about it. So it is so we all are at different levels of our evolution, and we all are open to receive things that come to us in a form that we are ready for. So it's important that we have these spiritually enlightened beings and teachers coming and speaking, and that others can receive in. I remember when I did ballet, I was a professional ballet dancer, and I did a lot of ballet growing up, and we had different teachers, right? And I would it was always the same teachings, right? But one teacher might say it differently, and then one day it just clicked, and I was doing like 7, 8 pirouettes on point, and it was because, I don't know, maybe that teacher said lift up out of your hip more. It just said that one thing that suddenly 15 years of training clicked and made sense. It's just sometimes.
So basically, if you have a classroom full of kids, the teacher has to be sharp enough to know.
Yeah.
Now I can teach Johnny this way, but Mary, I can't give it to her like that. I got to be a little bit different with her. You have to know your audience, right?
You know your audience, and maybe Mary needs a different teacher, or maybe that's not Mary's route. I think we all are here to live in service of our purpose, of whatever that calling is. And we all have a different purpose assigned to us. Like, we're on these little missions, right? And that mission is driven by passion within us.
Right.
And that is, it's like the human organism is this body that can't function without the heart and the lungs and the brain and all these different things functioning. It's kind of like what the universe is, right? We're one large organism with these little microorganisms functioning within, and that's us human beings. And then here we are killing and eating other beings, little earthlings of this planet, other organisms with feelings, and we are totally disconnected. Somehow it's all really related, and how and what we're doing to ourselves psychically by partaking in this vicious cycle of meat. Everything,
but look how
racism, everything, politics. You turn on the TV. I can't stand the TV. I have a new TV coming today, and for one reason, my dad likes to come. He's been with me a lot during this whole COVID thing, and he loves to watch the news, and I hate it. I can't listen to it anymore. So my TV is mounted on a wall, and I bought these Bluetooth headsets with an adapter, but I can't hook it up unless I take the TV off the wall. My TVs are like really old and heavy, so I got a new TV so they can install it. So I can install the Bluetooth adapter so he can watch TV in peace, and I can have my peace. Because to me, the TV instills fear in my life. It interferes. That's like interference, FEAR, not interfere, SERE. It is like, this like, we can't be clear of mind and clear of thought when we are putting toxic animal body parts into our body and turning on the TV and polluting our minds, brains, and thoughts with horrible hatred. I mean, that's what TV is. I mean, hopefully you'll get a show or do whatever you're doing. And, there's the Amazon cooking show, that New Day, New Chef. Like, there are great programs out there, but so much of it, I have a background in journalism and law, but my journalism background, I got a master's at Northwestern. I have a whole background on this. So what they taught us is, if it bleeds, it leads. It means murder, mayhem, the double murder, suicide stories. That's the top of the hour, because that's the rating.
Wow,
that's terrible. And Chef, I'm mad. I'm mad at you right now.
Why, honey?
Because you didn't even tell us. You didn't tell me we was having a TV show together.
Ah!
What is so funny right now? I don't even think I'm not trying to tell jokes right now. You didn't even let me know.
It was a surprise, boo.
Okay. I'm still waiting for it though. I think with me though, the way I became vegan, I think is really why I am the way I am, because I didn't know anything about it. Most people get information and then they make a choice.
Right. I
was getting the information downloads, right? I was doing it that way. It wasn't about education for me. It was about connection for me. Connection. So as I started to grow, and I started to let the old program go and start to create a new one, which is myself. Even if nobody around me was vegan, everybody ate meat, right? Everybody ate meat, and to me, just because of all the things I've done in my life, I didn't want to be that person that goes, you quit smoking a week ago. Now you're on everybody else to quit smoking. You know what I'm saying? You've been sober for a week, and now you preaching AA to everybody. You see what I'm saying?
So I know. Will do that.
Right. I've been there. Right. I've been there. I ate meat for 40 something years. Right. I drank for 20 something years. I smoked. I sold drugs. I was violent. Now I can give this message, but I can't give this message from a place of judgment. How can I do that? I'm just judging myself. Right? How am I going to tell these people, look, you need to change your ways. You need to do this. You need to do that. The best thing I feel I can do is show them. not tell them. Show them, look, I've been there. And I know you can, I know that you can create a different life for yourself, right? I've been there. I used to eat those body parts. I've been there. I know what you're going through right now, right? I know it's not, look, we've been eating processed meat since day one. My first meal was probably a hot dog chopped up. You see what I'm saying? So you could put that amount of conditioning. Someone's 40, 50 years old, and you expect them to like, okay, everything that you know about that, you just go ahead and give it up because it's this, and this, right? I've had people contact me, clients that I have that are not vegan, and just the other day, one goes, you know what? I never even thought about being vegan, but the way you talk about it, I'm starting to think about it now. So I slip the punches in. You know what I'm saying? They don't even know why I'm doing it.
Yeah, no, but that's the way to go. I'm telling you. So, again, I'm the founder and CEO of VVeg, the Vegan Certification Standard, and we were accredited by the National Accreditation Center in Turkey, which is, they accredit certification bodies around the world for different standards, nothing to do with veganism. And they went through our process because for marketing and money, for them, they want to have the different standards, organic, kosher, halal, vegan, right? We're just a business to them, right? So after they gave us our global accreditation, the daughter of the head guy of the company called me. She goes, I have a question. And I go, yes. And she's like, well, it might be a stupid question. I'm like, no, it's fine. There's no such thing as a stupid question. She's like, well, like in Turkey, because that's where she grew up and now she lives in Canada. She goes, in Turkey, it's nobody's really vegan. No one even really knows what that is. And we always just thought that if you didn't eat meat and you weren't vegan, that meant that you were going to be unhealthy and emaciated, and that it just really wasn't the lifestyle to go. It's just not healthy. But I'm going on your website and I'm looking at you and all the people that work there, and I'm starting to watch you guys and watch me. And she's like, I'm starting to really think that maybe I should go vegan. And I'm like, And then like a week later, she's like, I just watched What the Health, and I just watched Work. Like she's starting without me saying anything, without me trying to convince her, just by doing the vegan standard and doing my thing and just kind of, being around people that are vivacious and full of life and, doing well with the diet, the wheels started to turn for her. That doesn't mean that her dad, but she's a young girl. She's like in her 20s who grew up with a totally different culture. She did not even know what vegan was until, her dad basically is the founder of the accreditation center, just brings us in as a business, right? And then suddenly they start thinking about what is this, this diet, and maybe that does work, and let me learn more about it, and what does it mean, and let me watch this documentary and that documentary, and it's an education and an evolution process for us to spread the message and for others to receive it.
Well, we're all going to have to learn the lesson because the planet cannot basically take too much of of our behavior. So we're going to have to learn, and we have to keep talking. However you get the message out there, however you influence, you have to keep it up because it's important. There are a lot of people that really don't know. They're just walking around here ignorant. They don't know.
I don't even think I really even knew a lot of the cruelty around veganism, even though I was born and raised vegan until later in life, and even more recently, like chicken culling. I mean, I don't think people really realize that baby chicks, male chicks, are ground alive. But, they talk about how there's like 1.1 trillion animals a year that are murdered for food, because between fish and land animals, I think it's like 3 billion a day. Is that I think that's the statistic. But, okay. So I don't even think that 3 billion a day and 1.1 trillion a year is counting the poor baby chicks that are ground alive. I really don't think they're being counted. Those little baby chicks that are going on a conveyor belt. So just so sad. So I want to, Monk, before the show ends, ask you about your name. When did you become Monk?
This was probably about 6 or 7 years ago. So
and tell us the story. Yeah.
People don't understand that your name also carries energy with it, right? So that's why a lot of people, when they change their lifestyle, their name changes as well. You can look at people throughout history where the name didn't resonate with them anymore. So about 6 or 7 years ago, like I said, I'm hanging out with somebody that didn't know me prior to my lifestyle now. And she asked me, she goes, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "What do you mean what I do?" She said, "You don't smoke, you don't drink, you meditate all the time. You're a vegan. You're like a monk or something." That's what she said. And so we laughed about it, right? It was funny. But then I left and I go, if she would have knew me back in the day, this would have, she's comparing me to a monk right now. If she would have known me back in the day, there's no way this would have came out of her mouth. And it showed how much my life had flipped. It's changed completely, everything from everything I do.
Today you were just like the average Joe.
That's right. I was the funny drunk that sometimes got violent, that sold drugs sometimes, that acted an ass sometimes. That's what I was. Right? So it was more like a punk rather than a monk. But after I left that, right? After I left there, I'm like, wow. It's like my life is, I transformed my entire life. Nobody.
Your birth name was Joe, right?
My birth name was Joseph, yeah. So when I left there, I was like, I transformed my entire life. This is crazy that she would say, like, you're like a monk. And I'm like, this is crazy. So, right. So first thing I did in Facebook, which they made me change my name back because they kicked me out and made me change but I'm going to get it legally changed. So it was Urban Monk. Urban Monk was the first thing I put on Facebook. And what happened was when I did that, now when people see me in public, they started to call me monk. So it just kind of took on it started to grow by itself. So people would see me on social media and then they would see me in person and they would just call me that. Now if somebody calls me my birth name, I got to look around over my shoulder and say, like, who are you talking to? Who is this? Because most people don't even know me by my birth name at all. They'd be like, what's your birth name? It's like, my birth name is my birth name. My real name is my real name. So I resonate with monk. That is my name, right? Like I said, we're all conditioned beings till we realize that we are, right? So your name was given to you. Your first religion, if you're religious, that was given to you. Your diet was given to you. Matter of fact, Chef Babette, she didn't know she was black till someone told her she was black. You see what I'm saying? We don't know. We don't know anything. Our whole lives are given to us. It's that serious, right? Our place, our belief system, everything. How you know you're black, Chef? Did you figure it out on your own? Did you figure it out on your own?
Somebody told me that.
Exactly.
How old?
Well, no, my mother married an Italian, and then I realized I was black.
But you got to think about this, Chris. The same thing with you. It's like you grow up in this bubble, and your beliefs and the way you view life is all given to you until you realize that that's not what it is. Racists aren't racist when they're born. This is their story. This is what they were given. I told Ishiana the other day, we were sitting down together, my little gymnast daughter. I told her the other day, I said, look, we're all conditioned beings till we figure out that that's what we are, right? This is like the Matrix. We're all plugged in. We all were given this story and we stick to our story. Most of us stick to our story our whole life. I said, the difference between you is the story that I gave you was love and compassion. That's what I gave you. Now, that doesn't mean you realize it yet, right? But your story will eventually turn into your reality if you realize it, because love and compassion, love is what we are. So she's just going to have a self-realization when the things I've been telling her, she's just going to realize it at some point if she hasn't already, right? Oh, but with the other stories, it's like night and day. So if you were raised with hate and racism and all these bad diets and all these things, when your story changes and you become who you really are, it's going to be like, that's crazy. For her, it's going to be an easy transition when she connects. Okay, I get it now. She already knows that's what she is, but she's going to go, okay, I know what he's talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Well, I love it.
Me too.
Did your mom or dad mind when you changed your name?
Well, my father passed away when I was 4. And, you know, with that being said, the stories I heard were not good. And I always didn't want to be that, what I heard. And I ended up talking about the story, ended up being exactly that. Mm-hmm. So these are the stories, right? So obviously he didn't, I mean, he's still, you know, energy cannot be created or destroyed. He around here somewhere.
Somewhere.
Right. But
somewhere.
But my mother, she raised 7 kids by herself, but we don't even talk about that part. She lives in a different city. So it's not like I'm always around her. It's like I don't know what she calls. She doesn't call me Monk. She doesn't call me Monk for sure. Right. She doesn't call me that. She can't even get her own kids' names straight. It's like she'll start naming out 5 or 6 names. She'll start naming out 5 or 6 names before she get around to mine. And what she did was she booby trapped herself. She named all the kids' names to start with J.
Okay.
She's like, Jennifer, Jeff, yeah. She's like, well, I know it's one of you.
You are so silly.
I mean, that's setting up a booby trap for yourself. If you name all your kids' names start with J, you got 7.
It's so funny.
Janice.
Exactly. All day long.
So what's next? You have a book coming out. You have, what else are you working on?
Next season, hopefully the bodybuilding thing. I turned 50 this last December, about to be 51. So, you know, I'm in here bodybuilding with these young cats and spreading the message of vegan. The only reason why I got this is because it opens the door to conversation.
There
if somebody go. And I don't have to say anything. Right. And that's me just being passive aggressive, I could say. Right.
Actually, we just said, you know, we're not in your, you know, you're not in your face so much. It's pretty in your face.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'm not saying anything. So if someone sees that, so that's how I get to other people. If someone sees that and goes, yeah, let me ask him what that's all about.
Well, I've been looking at it for the whole hour.
Yeah. It's actually great because it's right in your face. It's like your lower third.
What's that?
It's your lower third. It's your like name on the screen at the bottom.
Yeah. There it is. Boom.
I love it.
But you know what's a trip with my tattoos? This is how evolution works, right? This is how when you evolve. My first tattoo was a gun.
Oh.
A hand holding a gun pointing at you like this.
What? I just saw something on Facebook or somewhere where there's a tattoo artist who will, for free, remove old tattoos like that if you're willing to cover it up with a loving.
Oh no, I would never get rid of it. I'm gonna tell you why.
I have that one too.
This is my story. Mm-hmm. When I speak, I'm speaking exactly on what's going on my body. This is my story. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't regret it. This is where I was. The lessons I learned living that way.
Yeah. So have you legally changed your name to Monk?
No, I am though. I actually ordered the papers to do it.
Are you adding your name, Monk, to Joseph, or are you changing?
No. See, like I said, I don't resonate with that old name no more.
So you're totally changing your name.
Yeah, I'm changing it. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and you know, I got older people say, "Well, whatever your mama named you, that's what you are." I said, "Look, who do you call Muhammad Ali? Do you call Muhammad Ali, or do you call him Cassius Clay? Muhammad Ali. All right, respect the game, right? No one calls Muhammad Ali Cassius Clay."
So you'll keep the old tattoo. You resonated with it at one time, and you resonate with your story still. It's part of your evolution, but you're stitching the name that you feel has zero connection to your real, true identity and self.
Right. So I'm saying with the tattoo, see, people might not think, "Oh, you wasn't about that," because I got a lot of love stuff going on now, right? I'm like, this is a roadmap of my life right here. Wherever I was at that time when I got that tattoo, you're gonna know exactly where I was. You see what I'm saying? And I don't regret anything, even being an alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? I don't regret every single thing I needed. It was just the universe trying to get me to, it was the universe trying to get me to do something different. And the lessons had to get harder.
You had to learn the lessons. You had to learn.
Yes, they had to get harder and harder and harder.
Man,
and it's for me to actually wake up.
100%. I totally agree. I have no regrets crawling around on the floor looking for a cocaine rock. Have no regrets whatsoever. Because if I hadn't been there, I wouldn't be here. So,
and you know what? We laughed about that, Chef. We laughed about that when you were telling that story when I was with you, right?
Yeah.
Hey, because you know,
if it was some cornbread, Mom.
Hey, look, we used to be on the other side. We used to be on the other side of that story, right? And you know what we used to do? We used to tell the dope fiends when we were in their houses. We were like, "Oh, I think you dropped something," and they'd be on the ground just searching. And
he is not right. Let me tell you, girl. When you're on crack cocaine, that is a desperate situation.
Oh, they be on the ground searching for days.
He did that evil stuff. If he did that evil stuff, that was really evil. Because let me tell you, I could crawl your entire living room floor looking for a rock.
Oh,
and if
man,
I found cornbread, I might smoke that cornbread. But
it was hilarious. It was hilarious at the time. But when you told me that story, I just started thinking back to actually going, I think you dropped it. And they just be on the ground just searching. They would not stop.
You guys did that.
Well, I do think
it's funny. I'm sorry. But
sometimes,
and I'm gonna leave it alone. I could see a bubble of white paint on the wall, and as crazy as I was back then, I'd want to pick that bubble of paint and hold it in my hand for later. So you already know what's up.
Well, sometimes I think in life we have to go through these dichotomies and differences, because out of contrast sometimes is where we find out where we want to be and what we need. And sometimes I always like to say lessons can be joyfully shared or painfully taught. We don't have to struggle and go through the hard times to come out to see the light, but more often than not, it's the human dilemma and the human condition that we must go through these hard times or these darker times in life in order to give birth to the wants that we want. And then we attract the wants that we want in our life by becoming into ownership of the want and not wanting anymore and becoming. And once we own it and are it, then we attract it. And it's unfortunate, I think, that at times we do need to go through these hard times, but I think that is life. That is life, that most people on this planet are on an evolution, if not all of us. I think that is being human, and going through these times of contrast allows us to step into where we need to be and want to be. And, you know, we are called to do things out of desire, right? That's how we become something. We want it, we become it, we desire it. And if everything is just so obvious all the time, I'm not sure you would desire it. You have to go through that stuck place or that other place in order to say, I don't want this. I desire something else. I see the light over there. I want to go there.
Yeah.
We all have our own journey in getting there. Yeah, we all see, the thing about it is we all have a purpose. Every single, it doesn't have to be on a big stage. You don't have to be a superstar like Babette, right? Everybody has a purpose. Whether it's you could be a bagger at a grocery store, but if you bring joy and happiness to people while you're bagging, that could be your purpose. You know what I'm saying? And until we align with what we're here to do, there's always going to be this anxiety.
Be on your purpose.
There's always going to be something missing. There's always going to be a void. And that's when we start to drink and drug, because we know there's something missing, but we don't know how to fill that void. Wow. So you try to suppress that, whatever that is, instead of, getting present with it, aligning with it. And once you align with it, then doors open. You'll be doing things you never thought you would ever do in your life.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Ever.
Yes.
The things I'm doing now, if you would have told me that 10 years ago, I'd say, get out of here.
Yeah, me too.
You're crazy.
Yeah, me too. I can remember somebody trying to give me, this lady trying to talk me into herbs. I'm like, could you go away? I'm totally not interested.
Now you over there smelling like a herb right now.
Oh, gosh. Well,
the light. Thank God for the light.
Yeah, see the light. Well, keep us posted, Chef Babette, if you get any announcements.
Oh no, I will definitely keep you posted. For sure. This has been so fun.
I'd like to announce it. I know you're already on the network, but yes, I'd love to do a follow-up here as well if there's any positive news. And, you know, thank you guys so much for joining me today. It was lovely to get to know you,
Mom. Having me.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
I really have, thank you so much. I love you both, y'all.
Where can everyone find you before we sign off? Where can we find you, Monk?
Monketernal.com is my website, but on Instagram it's monk_eternal, and on Facebook Vegan Monk.
Chef Babette.
And
where can we?
I'm Chef Babette. Just Chef Babette.
Yeah. Just Chef Babette.
Chef Babette on Instagram. And Chef Babette on Facebook. Chef Babette on Twitter. I don't even use Twitter.
And author of Cash In on Cashews.
That's my dessert book, but I've been promising the world forever, and I'm waiting now. We just had the grandbaby, the great grandbaby, but I am just waiting now for my daughter to complete the other book, which is called Stuff Your Stuff, and it will be an ebook, really easy to purchase as soon as I can get her to finish her part.
Yeah, and everyone should go watch New Day, New Chef on Amazon Prime, season 1, episode 3, and you'll see me as Chef Babette. Yeah, our picture made the cover of Veg News.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Everybody thought that was my show too. They were like, "Oh, girl."
I know. Yeah, yellow dress, and I'm in the hot pink. So yeah,
I know. It was a good shot. It was a good shot.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For everyone else that's tuned in, thank you. And we'll be back next week for another episode of The Laws That Matter. Same time, same place, noon Eastern Standard.